control to get more volume?
I can give you more volume, kind of, on your headset.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
What's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast. We're gonna adjust some volumes. I think if you go like this, there's like a little roller dial.
Oh,
Is that working? Are you getting more volume?
a little bit.
Perfect.
Love it.
Love it.
Love it.
Welcome to Marriage is for Quitters, where we quit to marriage, love, peace.
You wish you could quit my love.
I would never.
You can't.
I tried
Babe,
to last
you wore
night.
this on. You wore this on the last podcast.
Shit.
You should probably take your shirt off. I'm just kidding. I told you.
Dang.
I'm sorry.
I try to never wear the same outfit twice.
I know. It's so funny. I'm like, I could care less, and I'm the clothing girl, and I'm like.
For those of you just listening at home, Lucas is wearing a stylish plaid.
A stylish plaid. He looks like a handsome lumberjack with his beanie, and he looks just like that last week. Except last week you did not have a beanie, so I guess you are
That's
mixing it up.
incorrect. I
It
did have a
is?
beanie.
Are you sure?
It was a different beanie. I changed it up.
You changed it up.
So for those of you paying attention,
It's okay. We have guests that are like, can take over
Hey.
your cuteness.
Quit-
I'm sorry. I always hit this thing.
be careful with my equipment, okay?
Your expensive
It's a loaner.
stuff. It is?
No.
Oh, Lord.
It's made in China, though. Look, it's like, that. What does that even mean?
What does that even mean?
It should say, super fun recording.
Oh, here we go. There we go.
Extra
Oh,
fun
there's
American recording device.
knobs. Extra fun American. Well,
To the Chinese people, I
what
apologize
episode is this?
for that. What?
876543. 8? Are we on 8?
It's like 7.
Seven?
Maybe 8.
One of those. 7, 8, 9.
I don't know. I did that loner one in the hotel. Don't watch.
I was sick, so he had to do one by himself, which I
listen to
still haven't listened to. I keep forgetting to do that. Anyways, we're on either 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And today we have
Welcome.
wonderful guests with us.
Oh.
So far we've had did you know? You thought the laughing in the background was like my button.
I thought you had
pushing.
like a button.
button.
Ho, 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 ho. Yeah, like what do you
Live
call it?
audience.
Yeah, live
Yeah.
audience.
No.
Yeah, right.
No, I was gonna say laundry love.
I brought you real people. Oh, you want to plug that first? Go for it.
Because otherwise, I wait till we're an hour in, and then
And nobody cares anymore.
yeah, the one viewer that's still watching is like, all right, I'm out. So laundry love this Tuesday. Bring your quarters and
And your
a
smiling
smile.
faces. Yeah.
And
And your love
your love
for the community.
or some cookies.
And probably Jesus.
A little bit of Jesus. More cookies. Jesus-shaped cookies.
Ooh.
Mm.
I wonder if they make those kind of cutouts.
I feel like they should.
Just like the
should.
Catholic Jesus. Just
Yeah.
eat of my. I'm
communion.
Sorry, Jesus has a sense of humor, so
He
he's-
does.
he's
Yeah.
laughing.
He loves it.
Plus, but he's not on the cross anymore.
If I were Jesus, I would want a cookie made out of us. Me. Maybe not on the cross, yeah, because
I'd
that's
eat
bad
that.
memories.
I'd eat that cookie.
Oh my gosh, here we go. I told you
yeah.
guys. I told you. It's
Okay.
gonna
Love
come
it.
out.
Love
Okay,
it.
sorry.
Married life. That's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All you guys watching on YouTube, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a ladder in the background.
It's his aesthetic. I took it away and he made me put it back.
It's
Actually,
pretty
he put it back because
stylish.
I wouldn't do it for him.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it.
It's pretty stylish.
That's good.
It looks like you were doing a project and then you're like, nope,
Yeah, I had to get to the
I'm
ceiling.
not going to
that's,
do it anymore.
an inch over our heads.
Yeah.
reach.
If you want the ladder so bad, I will get like little plants or something to make
Yeah.
it cute.
There you go.
Just get
Make
like
it homey.
drywall stuff on it, so it does look like I was doing a project.
Yeah.
Paint splatters.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
There might be some.
there probably is. I think I
But
bought
some
it
more
used.
visible ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyways,
Now, can I introduce our fabulous guest?
let me take a sip first.
Or do you need to talk about something else? Oh,
Brought to you by Apple Cider. Go ahead.
apple cider. It's what's for dinner.
Mm.
Okay, so we have 2 guests tonight. Obviously, married couple, because that's what we do.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. And so you guys can get to know them a little bit. I just wanted them to talk about, maybe what you do with your life and how you guys met each other, how long you've been married, fun stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to start?
Ladies first.
Oh, can you
Oh.
introduce yourselves?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, I didn't say your name, so.
Go ahead.
I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Victoria.
Wow,
Ross.
nice to meet you guys.
Rosses. Yeah.
Yes, we are.
So I'm starting. So I am the church admin over at Radiant. Woohoo!
Woo, go Radiant.
Yay. And mom of 3. And
Yeah, you are.
We have we have 1 together, and I have 2 from a previous marriage. And yeah, that's really me in a nutshell, I guess. How about you?
Basically the same thing, except I'm a dad of 3 instead of a mother.
The same thing, but as a man.
Man.
Wait, you're a church admin too? No.
Sometimes I
liar.
have
I'm
to
just
pick
kidding.
up the slack.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So I've been employed with the city of Bay City for 4 years. I enjoy what I do. Grateful to go to work every day. I love my family. The kids are a joy, even when they drive me bonkers. Yeah, our life is busy, taking care of them, chasing them around, keeping them out of trouble. And
I
it's
love
good.
seeing you with those kids because I've seen, we'll get into it later, but I've seen, anyways, I don't want to get into it yet. But just
there.
the joy that you bring to those
Yeah.
kids, and
Yeah.
you just work so perfectly with them. So I don't know.
No.
Little nugget.
No.
Oh, that's so sweet. And we've been married for
Yeah.
almost 2 years.
Dang.
That's it. I feel like
Cool.
it's been longer.
I know.
Oh.
Yeah.
But
I
we were
thought-
married before too, so
Right,
it's,
right.
Right.
it's been a lot longer.
Right.
But we've been married for 2 years, coming up technically May 13th.
Correct.
We eloped, and then we had our big celebration in
Oh.
June of 2022. So
Okay.
Nice.
yeah.
How'd you guys meet each other?
We met while we were both going through divorce, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just before COVID, basically.
Literally the week before.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were both recommended to join a divorce care group. And the one closest to us was at In His Presence Church.
Okay.
So we were both attending that, and we're the only 2 who were attending, ironically.
I brought a
So-
friend. Okay, I love my friend so much. If she's listening to this, I love her so much. But she was like concerned because like it was like starting the COVID lockdowns and stuff. And I had brought her with me to the first divorce care class that I went to. And then the next week she was like, yeah, peace out, because that's when everything like shut down. We weren't supposed to meet, but they were still meeting. So I didn't go the next week. And then the leader was like, why don't you just come back anyway? And then it was just the 2 of us for like a round and a half of divorce care.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And see the burps. Oh my gosh. Okay. Freaking cider. Okay. Now I lost my train of thought. Oh, the divorce care at
Yes.
church now. Is that
Same thing.
same thing?
Yep.
And
Same thing.
You lead it, or does someone else lead it?
Nope. Somebody else does. Jeff
Okay.
DeHaven does.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Hey,
So
I think I know that guy.
Mm-hmm.
you probably do, but you're terrible with names. So you're like,
He's
probably
on
see him all
media
the time.
team with you.
Oh, there you go. He's so bad.
I think I shot some videos for him.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're going to talk a lot today. You're going to do most of the talking because, I mean, I had a serious relationship, but I did not have to go through a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm very interested and I didn't even know that you had gone through a divorce. I know Victoria a lot closer than I know you, obviously.
Sure.
So I'm interested to hear your story and how what you guys have gone through with divorce and meeting each other again or after a divorce and all that. So,
You're
Yeah.
so hot.
oh my gosh, every time. You literally picked the worst angle to like my side, whatever, or this
Girl,
side.
you cute. Come on.
I don't know what it is.
How do I film the other side of your
I
face?
don't know. Can we get a front angle like right
Let's just
there?
get a mirror right here
Right.
on my face that reflects to you.
This is a serious topic.
Sorry. Sorry.
So let's,
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of good stuff that you guys have to say. So let's jump in. Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
What was your relationship before you guys? I don't know how much you
Yeah.
want to divulge into that, but go for it.
For sure. Why don't you start?
Yeah. Yeah.
With, like your former marriage stuff. So
Absolutely. So, gosh, how old was I? 19. When I was 19 years old, I ended up moving to Monterrey, Mexico, and I ended up living there for 9 years. So I moved to there when I was 19, and I was volunteering with a Christian organization called the Youth with a Mission. It was an awesome time. And
That's YWAM. I think I did one of
YWAM.
those
Yes.
too. I
Yep.
think I did one of those too.
yeah, yep. So during the time that I was volunteering, I met my former wife, who was also a volunteer and who was from Monterrey, Mexico. We ended up falling in love, and after my commitment was done serving, I made a 2-year commitment to serve with them. We ended up getting married, transitioned over from being a poor missionary to a poor English teacher. But that's kind of how the relationship started. So I lived there until 2014. And then honestly, I got kind of burned out on Mexico life and just missing things about living in the U.S., we could say.
Okay.
So we came from Mexico stateside to Dallas, Texas. Spent roughly 5 years there, and neither of us had any family. So we ended up in 2019 moving from Texas up here to Michigan, where I'm from.
Oh,
And then did not take that long for things to
Oh,
kind of crumble.
okay.
So, yeah, towards the end of 2019, there was like some just things going on in the relationship that I had never experienced, like distance-wise. Like I could tell that there was something going on, that she was like really uncomfortable, like struggling, but I couldn't put my finger on it. I thought like maybe like she was getting picked on for being a Mexican, like people were being mean to her, something like that. And finally one day, like I got home from work and she pulled me aside and she's like, "We got to talk." And I'm like, "All right, like,
Oh,
yeah, we do." Because there's like so much tension and I'm like, what
Yeah.
the heck's going on? And basically she was like, "So me and a coworker got physical, yada, yada, yada." And I remember like I was just like, could barely hold myself together. And all I thought to do was hop in my car and go see my mom. So I was like, I called my mom like a mess on US 10, like, like a disaster. And it was like such a crazy time. You know, when you go
Yeah.
through something, it's just like
Tragic.
it's so spotty. You know, your memories, you just remember bits and pieces of it. But it was hell.
was it immediately after that you decided divorce was the answer, or did you do therapy? How did that work out?
So being a naive man, we're like, oh, things will get better. Like, we're not that bad. Things will get better. But I did not want divorce because I came from a divorced home and told myself, like, I will never be in a divorce. It's not going to happen. Like, not going to do it. And so even though our marriage had a lot of challenges, like I didn't want that. I didn't want to go down that route. But we didn't immediately go into counseling. We did take like a marriage class at the church we were attending at the time. But I think she was really more set that she was done with it.
Okay.
And she was kind of putting her focus on like going back home and restarting her life and how
Back
that
home
was,
to Mexico?
yeah, how that was going to look for her. And I was like, is there hope? Like, can we restore this? So, yeah, she ended up, gosh, when was it? Like, I can remember the date.
January 5th, I think it was.
Yeah, maybe that's when it was.
2020.
Like January 5th.
She remembers?
Yeah.
I'm a woman. I
Yeah.
remember these things.
It's like,
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah. So it's like,
Wow. Of
Yeah.
2020, that's when she
yeah.
left?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
so-
you guys didn't have any kids?
No,
right?
we were
okay.
unable to. We were unable
Okay,
to,
okay.
which now is a blessing.
Yeah.
Obviously, it would have been I can't even imagine
Bigger
how big of
ordeal.
Mhm.
a mess it would have been with kids. So
Yes.
But yeah, going back to Mexico and
yeah,
Oh,
like
that would be terrible.
yeah, it would have been insane. So yeah, January 5th of 2020, she hopped on a plane with a one-way ticket back to Mexico, and it's the last time I saw her.
Wow.
damn.
Very cool, like knowing, what you're going to share later on, but how God totally protected you from that.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
like,
Honestly,
children
yeah.
protected
Mhm.
what could have been crazy, but thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
You want me to go ahead?
Yes.
Okay. So, like most of my story, but so like to recap, I was, let's see. Oh gosh.
Pretend I don't know.
Yeah,
because-
I'll pretend. I'll pretend. So I was 25 when I first got married to my former spouse. And it was just one of those things where I was like ready and excited to get married. And I was like, I don't know, I jumped too quickly and looking back at everything, but it's okay. And he was very young. He was 20. And he hadn't like experienced a lot of life yet. So I think that's where our disconnect came from. But we were married from 2015, and we got pregnant fairly quickly. I was pregnant with Ellie when you were pregnant with Lincoln. So, and we had 2 kids in the midst of our marriage, one in 2016, one in 2018. And then I started to see our marriage fall apart after I had EJ in 2018. So there was a lot of, like, I struggled with like postpartum depression with Eliana, a little bit with Enoch. But there were also some like unresolved personal issues that I had just with like intimacy, like things like in that area of our marriage. And I noticed there was some kind of weird disconnect, kind of like the same thing like Jonathan talked about. There was like a distance, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. I just had a baby a few months ago. Like, I don't really want to address this, but I also don't want it to get swept under the rug.
Right.
So I tried to address it. I was like, what is going on? Like, I don't understand, like, why you're so distant from me. And there was just a number of things that, like, he said, but it didn't really resolve. So we just kind of kept distance, tried to keep going with our marriage. Early 2019, I really noticed something was really off, but I still was like, I think it's just another tiff with something that he was dealing with. So we tried to like really work on our marriage. I thought things were getting better over the summer of 2019. And then it was, I'll never forget it. It was September 26th of 2019.
Dang, you're good.
Like, I'm good with
You're
dates,
good.
girl. That's why I'm the admin.
Yeah, right? Marco, you talked about this on...
Exactly, right? But it was September 26th, and the only reason why I remember is because like I took the kids to the pumpkin farm that day, like with his mom. It was like a really great time. But then I came home, and I had like still, again, like noticed something was just off about him. Like there was so much distance. Like our intimacy was like terrible. Like just all these things going on. Like I was just like, oh, there's just a lot going on. So he had gotten home from work that day, and I walked down our back steps, and he kept his little ID clip in the back where he kept like his photo ID, like everything in it. And it was kind of gross, and I was like, oh, I'll just wash it for him, like wipe it off for him. And when I pulled his ID out, like I can still like vividly remember this part. There was like a little sticky note that fell out, and I was like, oh, it's like, you know, he always had random stuff stuffed in there, and I thought it was like a contact for a job because he had been looking for a different job, and it said text me on it, and it had a phone number, and I was like, oh, I'll just ask him about this, like when he gets out of the shower or whatever, and see if he had found like a job or something. So when he had gotten out of the shower, I was like, hey, what is this? And like immediately he slumped into the bed, like defeated almost. And I was like, well, what's wrong? Like, you okay? And he's like, no, it's for a coworker. And I said, oh, a coworker, like which coworker? And he told me the name of the coworker, and it's a name that could be for a girl or a boy. So I thought it was just a dude all along that he had been hanging out with, talking about for the last couple of months. And it ended up being a woman. And they had been intimate together, like had been seeing each other for a number of months. And it wasn't the first time either. So there was 2 affairs that ended up happening.
With the same person?
No, with 2 different people.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yep. So that happened.
Welcome to the Maury Povich show.
Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing like with Jonathan. Like I was just distraught. Like I had a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old at home. And I'm like, what on earth am I going to do? Like at that point, I didn't know that there was 2 people yet. I didn't know like any details. I just knew that he was seeing somebody else. And from then on, like Jonathan said as well, it was like super spotty, like where my memory is on things. But I just remember going through complete hell, like just absolute devastation over the course of the next few months. My kids, like, I don't know if you remember, but like they were not smiling anymore. They weren't laughing anymore. Ellie started to have these tantrums for like 45 minutes where she literally couldn't do anything but scream on the floor. Like, it was rough.
Because of you guys being separated, or
right,
because
we ended up we
Okay.
ended up separating a month and a half after that because there's just a number of things that happened and like I couldn't be in the same house anymore with somebody who was leaving all the time. So it just became really difficult for him to be home. So we ended up separating, and then obviously I did not want divorce. You know, being a Christian woman, I'm like, I'm not going to divorce. You know, my dad was divorced a number of times. Like, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it myself. So I fought very hard. And during the COVID pandemic, when that all started, I started divorce care, but we also started counseling. I said you could come home on the grounds of counseling. And we kind of laid out some ground rules. He was home for like a month, but then he started seeing that woman again. So it was just a mixture of all of that and the way I was being treated while he was home. I was like, okay, like we definitely have to move forward with a divorce. Because I had originally filed the week before the total like shutdowns happened. And then he got served, and then the shutdowns happened. And I was willing to like stop the divorce if he was like willing to, turn around our marriage, restore the marriage. But that didn't end up happening. And we were divorced in October of 2020.
He wanted to live in his sin.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, for sure.
You've been very distant, babe.
I've been physically distant.
You're not allowed to work out of Bay City anymore. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
And I hope you have no coworkers at all. I'm just kidding. They're both of coworkers. That's crazy.
It's a common
They're
theme.
like the
It is a
same
very
thing.
common theme.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I work with a bunch of women, so we're good.
What if you like decide to les out?
Not gonna happen. I said that's only if you die. Maybe I'll think about it. No, I'm kidding.
What about your gay coworkers? What if you turn them straight?
Oh my gosh, get out of here. I don't even have those. Okay.
No. This is not.
It's not that kind of podcast.
No,
Sorry,
it's not.
It's not
It's
that kind of
no.
topic. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to say it's not that funny.
It's not
But
funny.
it's sad. It's serious.
It's terrible. But at the same time, there's like, look at what God did in your.
You had to get broken down to.
One thing I was thinking when you were talking is because I would feel, if you cheated on me, I would feel such a sense of rejection and lack of confidence. Like, am I not good enough? How did you guys deal with those kind of feelings? I didn't tell you I was going to have to.
No,
I told
okay.
you.
I can answer.
Sometimes
You
it
want me
just
to
comes out.
answer
You can.
I can answer first. All right. So obviously as a woman, like when we're married, our worth is kind of sometimes tied up in like what our husband affirms or doesn't affirm or lack thereof. So like that was like devastating, at first. Like there goes my identity as a wife, like you don't care about me enough to stay in the marriage. But over time, like the way I had to like restore that identity was obviously like my belief in the Lord, like that was crucial for me.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of counseling too. I've been in counseling since 2019. And
Good
that's
for you.
helped me. Yeah. It's helped me tremendously. There's no shame in getting counseling.
Yeah.
But that helped me a lot. Restore like that I am worth it, that I am worthy of love and, you know, like being in a committed marriage.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What about you?
Yeah. I don't think you can go through it and not have that point.
Oh,
in
yeah.
it. You know,
Yeah.
like it
Absolutely.
is. I can't think of anything more crushing, honestly, because the person's making that choice
Right.
to say, I'm done
Right.
with you.
Right.
You know,
And
like
even
it's-
like even in the divorce care, like they said, like divorce is equivalent or sometimes more painful than actually losing a spouse to
Right.
death, because it's like they're making that
They're
conscious
making- right.
choice all the time
Yeah.
to like
I
not
mean,
choose you.
They're both heartbreaking, but if someone
Right,
dies,
absolutely.
it's like you can always remember him as
Yeah, like
the
loving,
perfect
yes,
person who was taken from you. Yes,
Right.
but they were yours.
right,
And as opposed to like when they just leave you or, you know, dishonor you, it's just,
for sure.
yuck.
Yeah. Go ahead, Annie. You were kind of finishing a thought.
Yeah. Try not to get all churchy here, right? Like,
No, you can get
But-
churchy. Just
but like but the truth, right? Like you got to
Yes.
speak the truth. Like how did you survive that and
Right,
come out
right.
of it a better person,
Mhm.
right? Because it's like if you have to walk through hell, there better be a purpose in it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Like you better get out of that horrible time as much as you can,
Mm-hmm.
or like you know why like why have to suffer that?
Right.
So I think for me, until you go through those things, there's a depth in a way that you know and associate with God that you never have before.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, like
Yeah.
That
there-
makes a lot
you know,
of sense.
like you
yeah.
feel like you have nothing left,
Yeah.
you know, and he is the only one who was there, who held me through it.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
You know, like the weeping, the crying, you know, at night, like just feeling totally hopeless, like having no energy to do anything, like struggling to get out of bed and go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that is like the key piece to surviving and getting through
Mhm.
it. And then beyond that, I would say like you have to associate with people
You do.
who are good for you. Like you have to let in the right people, because it's so easy to want to like close people off
Right.
because
Yeah.
you feel
Yeah.
like I'm a failure, like you know, I screwed up, like my life's crap now, like I'm not worth anything, you know, and it's like you can't put yourself in that place because you're just going to spiral downward.
Very true. Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like I feel like that's a big key to it. And then there are a lot of good resources out there
Oh,
as
absolutely. Yep.
Did you ever feel like you let God down by getting a divorce, or did you, because I know in the Bible, I don't know the verses very
That's
well.
okay.
But like how infidelity is
Yeah.
means for a divorce,
Mhm.
and the only one maybe?
There's
Or
another one. There's
okay.
abandonment of the marriage too.
abandonment.
Yeah.
Okay. So knowing that, I mean, I hope that you didn't feel that you were letting God down, because I feel both of you are completely justified. But
Mhm.
how do you deal with the struggles of thinking like I'm doing something that God tells us not to do? And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, that was one thing that I did struggle with at first, like before I filed, because you didn't end up filing. His former wife ended up filing.
okay.
And there was like some different convictions that you had than what I had. But yeah, for me at first, right before I filed, I was like, God, is this okay? Like, because I had differing voices telling me, no, it's not biblically okay. And other people like my leadership now is like, they were like, yeah, it's founded in scripture. Like there is reason for this because the infidelity.
Mm-hmm.
So I did battle with that back and forth. But then again, like going back whoops, sorry. I like hit this down here. But going back through scripture and actually like understanding like it is okay. And like, I'm not anything less to God because I went through divorce, you know, that really helps.
That's awesome. I feel like some people might struggle with that, feeling like you failed God, you failed your spouse, but really guys were so protected. And the fact that you guys have each other and went through almost the exact same thing is incredible how God used that. But
that was like, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no.
No, I was just going to say like, that was literally something like post divorce. I was like, Lord, like I need somebody who's been through the exact same thing.
Wow.
Seriously. Like that was one of the like qualifiers, I guess you could say, of a future spouse. But like, that was one thing like I wrote down, like, I was like, I need somebody who's gone through this, who can like empathize, you know, with what I've been through and like understand that type of hurt. So
how do you think it would have been if he had children for you? I feel like you're so nurturing and accepting. You probably wouldn't even be a issue for you. Man, you guys would have like a Brady Bunch.
We would have. I mean, if he had children, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, honestly, because like I was starting to get used to, you know, the co-parenting relationship with my former spouse. So it's like, okay, throw in another former spouse. But, you know, honestly, it wouldn't have really mattered much to me.
We would all be very bilingual.
That's super cool.
I mean, he still speaks fluent Spanish.
I love that. Yeah. He needs to be our Spanish speaker. We're doing Duolingo.
Say something sexy in Spanish.
Oh my gosh, do it, babe.
Ay, te ves bien guapo.
Can you do the growl for me?
He discovered that last podcast that I could do that. And I was like, do it, girl.
Oh my gosh.
I had a question in my head and I forgot.
Sorry.
Talk to us a little bit about like post-divorce with you guys. What are some struggles that you guys have within a marriage, knowing that there has been infidelity in both of your pasts? I feel like for me that would be hard to trust someone again.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think for me, honestly, like that part of it, I wrestle with like feeling like am I gonna be like cheated on again? Maybe like part of it is the fact that like she knows that hurt, you know, but that's really not something. There are other battles, you know, there are other things that have been challenging. You know, we've had a lot of things that we've had to get through, honestly, because her ex is still in the picture. There's still all those connections, you know, there's like relationship with her former in-laws. And so for me, there were insecurities that I think the enemy was able to try to take advantage of.
Right.
And itch, if you want to say. It made me like,
you got mad.
Are you sure like you really want to be with me? You know, like those kind of things. So
the family, I feel like, would be harder than losing him.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't like, because I like, here's how I put it to Jonathan, was like, I have been friends with his family since even before like we were ever like dating. So I wasn't like necessarily, for me, like I wasn't losing them because they were still friends. But also like I had been so involved with them. Like, so that was like a tough one. And I mean, I don't hang out with really any of them anymore except for Kendra. So that's about it. So yeah, so that was a hard one for him. Everything okay?
My phone pinged. I'm
So
just
did
like,
mine. So did mine. So
You can check, are the kids okay?
I'm sure they're fine.
Okay.
they'll call us if they need us.
Okay.
True.
But yeah, so that was one thing that you struggled with, definitely, for sure. Like, there's other things we struggle with, you know, like the co-parenting relationship can be a little strained sometimes. And then like like another thing, like Jonathan, I know you've struggled with is like for instance, like when Enoch had his seizure, like, and you, like your involvement when we were at the hospital, and kind of feeling like left out because you're not his biological dad. Yet I was in the room with him and with his biological dad. So like that was like one thing like you kind of battle with a little bit.
Yeah.
Or used to, at least.
Yeah, right. There's some very like
Because you have to like kind of give that back to some kind of parental thing. You have to kind of in that moment give back to the father of the children, and you're not there
Right.
with her.
Right. So it's like,
Exactly.
where does he fit in? You know, like
Yeah.
in the role of being a parent to Ellie and EJ versus, you know, like obviously we know where you fit in with Robin, but
she's all mine.
she is all yours, baby. Ain't no questioning that one.
And how cool that you couldn't have children with your former.
Yeah, wild.
And
Did
then
not see that one coming.
this lady, this hot mama comes along. She's like, I got you. Shoot.
Literally week 1 we got pregnant.
Wow.
I
No
was-
messing around.
Well, it's like because like we didn't know. I mean, you were told that you weren't able to have kids, so
I showed you the paperwork.
he still has the paperwork from when he had
Wow.
the test done in Mexico.
it was supposed to be you that were not allowed to have kids, not the,
It was both sides.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so when you told him, were you like, excuse me? Like, did you get any kind of like, holy crap, I don't trust this?
Not like I don't trust
Oh.
this, because she was like, I'm very fertile. Like this could happen. Like,
I could tell you that.
that's what she
Okay.
said.
No, I'm
She's
just
like,
kidding.
I want you to
though.
know this. So I'm like,
But that was like a kind of like a precursor too before we got like serious in our relationship. You know, you told me like you wanted to make sure you were with somebody who is okay not having any more biological children because you were not able to, along with a couple other things. But like, yeah, like when I got pregnant, I was like, no way. But it was so fast though, and like you were floored because it was just like you had waited your whole life to have a biological
Aw.
child. So, and he always wanted a daughter named Robin. No joke.
Aw.
yeah.
Since you were a teenager.
Yeah.
That's yeah. He always wanted a
Because you're
Lincoln.
Batman.
Oh, is that what it is?
No.
It's a secret identity.
No, it's because I had a crush on a girl named Robin. When I was
Oh
younger.
my gosh.
Yeah, I
Uh-oh.
never told you that.
You're in big trouble now, buddy.
This is the wrong podcast. We love marriage. Marriage is good. They just need to go work it out at home. Everything is fine.
We got a
Okay.
spare bedroom over there. but-
Sounds
Spare
good.
bedroom.
We'll be quiet. Sorry, I went there.
It's okay. I love it.
That's what they all say.
That's funny.
What would you guys say to? Because I feel like another huge reason why I want to do this podcast is the media and the way that marriage is these days. It's just like, we'll get married. If we want to get divorced, we'll just get out of it. You know, it's so easy for people to escape
Yeah.
a marriage. Whereas
So silly.
it is so
It
silly.
is.
Why even get married? Just
Right.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
just
Sure.
don't.
just don't do it.
Just leave the back door open. You know?
Yeah,
Why like do that? I don't know.
unless you're So,
Yeah.
what would you say to like the media, the world these days that just think it's just so easy to do and yeah, just don't.
Yeah, just don't.
Just don't do it.
I mean, I think there's so much to that, right? Like there's a total lack of the value of marriage, right? Where people are like, we can just play house, you know, like
Yeah.
we can have
Yeah.
kids together and we can play house and we don't need that certificate,
Right.
you know, and there's a lot of people that just label it as like, it's just a piece of paper
Right.
when it's so much more. So, you know, that's a huge thing in itself. But yeah, I would say if you feel like you're walking into a relationship where you're not 100% in it until the end, you need to really check yourself
Yeah.
because that's the way it's meant to be. And if you get into it and then, you know, things start to fall apart, it is so much more devastating than people realize. And the trickling effects of it
Yeah.
are so much deeper.
Yeah.
Like
The trickling
the
effects. you're right.
children, you know,
Yeah.
the children, the things like I'm almost 38 years old, you know, and my dad still will not be around my mom. So now like the grandchildren are like, I want, you know, my grandma and grandpas to come and see me at this. And it's like, You know, who do I invite?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much more to it. You know, people just think, oh, we're just get a divorce and whatever, it'll be cool.
Right.
And it's not.
No, because
It's not.
you're not only losing that other person, but you're losing a family unit. You
the
know,
life
like-
you built,
yeah, an entire life you built.
the security and comfort.
Exactly. You lose so much more than you realize. So, yeah.
I think there's a lot of pressure too when it comes to marriage. Like there's like your thought when someone asks you, "Will you marry me?" You don't just think, "Do I want to marry this person?" You think, "Well, what will other people think if I say no?" Well,
Yeah.
he'll feel bad if I say no. Like, and there's like this weird,
Right.
like, we should just normalize saying no to. Like, it's
It's
okay.
true, though. Yeah.
Well, maybe if people didn't like, I love that ours was broadcasted and like people
Well, that
were
was
filming
tailored,
it.
That
and
was
stuff.
tailored to you, and I was trying to
But-
get famous.
Yeah, but like some people, they see people proposing and they're like, "Oh my gosh, they're proposing," and then they say no, and then it's just embarrassing for the whole.
I
It's
think
like
that gets more popularity. Like,
Yeah.
you should have said no,
It does.
and then like I'll say yes later. Like,
right.
Yeah, right. But
No.
it is true. I mean, yeah, you can totally normalize that because it's like,
it's like it's a big decision.
It is. It's
something
huge.
you
It's
should
the
not
rest of your
take
life.
lightly. Yeah,
Yeah.
Very
it's
true.
supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like
It's also kind of weird though if you're about to ask somebody that you don't know 100% that they're gonna say yes.
well,
You probably-
I assume that the person thinks that they are going to 100% say yes, and the other person just might not feel the same way. Which also maybe
That-
not even.
how
Let's
do you not
normalize not
communicate
getting
that?
to that point. Let's
Yeah.
normalize if one person in the relationship is just like hanging out. Let's just call it what it is, and like, hey, let's, before we even get to that point, because how is that guy so clueless?
Right.
that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
like
Right.
there's a communication barrier there.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're not talking about almost getting married. We're talking about
You actually did it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything you guys? I see your notes.
He's
right
got
there.
notes.
I want to
He's
know.
all about notes.
Yes, I love it. If there's anything I didn't ask or we didn't talk about that you feel is important for people to hear about marriage, divorce, infidelity, any of that.
Mm-hmm. You know, I think as a guy, I don't know, Lucas, you can agree with me or not.
Some people
Yeah.
say I'm a guy.
We'll see how big of a guy you are. But I feel like for me, like I was looking back on it, I was like very naive to like how like the spiraling downward trend that my former marriage was on. Like I just thought like this is just how the marriage is, you know, like we'll be fine, like, you know, and it was that what they talk about, like that crazy cycle, right? Where it's like you're good for a little bit and then, you know, something happens, you guys are ticked off, yada yada yada, forgive each other, you know, like just that
Yeah.
continuous cycle. And I
Yeah.
just thought like that's just how
That's
it
just
is.
marriage. We are not. No.
we
did.
we had a fight last
We
night.
did. I told them we might talk about it later. Okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna
It's fine. We'll talk about it
we're
later.
gonna be
It's fine.
boxing.
Box it out. Sometimes you got to.
Is that
Sorry,
why you had that
spiraling.
black guy the other day? You can tell me. This is the safe place.
What? Yes, black guy.
No,
Go ahead.
no, I said black guy.
Oh my gosh. Let him talk.
Sorry.
Spiraling down.
Yeah.
Like you should have saw the sign. Is that what you're saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Like
but
Be
what would you
more-
have done different?
gotten help.
Gotten help.
Gotten
but
help.
Oh,
then
yeah.
this
You know.
wouldn't happen. So it was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like it's all been redeemed and I'm like grateful for where
Yeah.
I'm at now. Right. But you
can
still like
take
you don't
that
ever
and
want to end
continue
up.
marriage.
Right.
You also learn stuff that you can share with other people.
Right.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So like obviously it's not like what you have now is awesome, but ideally you don't want to get to that point.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we could save other people from that.
Right. Absolutely. And
But
like,
let them know if it does happen.
Yeah.
You know, they got a Victoria waiting.
Yeah.
Right. Yup.
Fertile Victoria.
Look at
Sorry.
how
It's so exciting.
I'm getting ready to fight already.
Yeah. He's
Oh
rolling up
my
the sleeves.
gosh.
Ding
Okay.
ding.
Ding ding.
In the ringer. No, but what I was gonna say was like, shoot, now I lost my.
I'm
train of
sorry.
thought. No, it's all good. It's all good. but yeah, like kind of the same thing for me and my former spouse. Like we had that downward spiral that just got out of hand and kept going. And there was, I think the biggest thing for us was like communication. We did not have a good open line of communication at all. And that's something like we've really like tried to reiterate in our marriage. Like we need to communicate. And I said it like an hour or so ago, however long ago it was, 2 hours ago. I was like, babe, it's okay to over communicate too. I'd rather have over communication than no communication.
Yeah, that's how he is.
It seems like that is the most commonly brought up thing.
Yeah, communication.
And every one of our podcasts, it's always like, oh, we were struggling. We weren't communicating. Oh, like sex is like here, but communication is like right along with it.
Right.
Like they go together. And like there's other things in the
You
relationship.
have to communicate while having sex is what you're trying to
This
say.
is actually
a little bit to the left. No.
But it's true. I mean,
Yeah, why not? But it's like that is the biggest thing. And I'm in my men's group. It's the same thing. I hear them. It's a bunch of married people who want to improve their marriages, and so you all sit together and talk about our issues. And it's like 9 times out of 10, what they're going through is like they're just not communicating.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know it's awkward. I tell everyone, like, start a podcast. I swear.
It has brought us so much closer. Yeah.
That's
because
good.
you have this format.
Yeah.
Where, what are we supposed to do here? We're supposed to talk and communicate.
Yeah.
And so, like, I would never sit down with my wife without a podcast to be like, so what do you think about sex in the marriage? Like, no one does that.
Yeah.
No one
Like usually there's a TV on in the background or there's so much distraction. This is like intent focused. Like we have to make something juicy out of this. So let's talk about something.
And the sex afterwards is just
That's funny though, because like usually we'll go out after a podcast and have a drink or whatever, and then like we don't talk. We're like, we just talked for an hour and a half. So
right, kind of
like
talked out.
I need a
we're out.
break.
We need to.
Yeah.
That's not true. Well, it depends how tired I am, but
So would you say, I just from listening to you guys, it sounds like you took what you, like your failures in your past marriage, learned from them, and now are kind of growing through that in your marriage now.
Yeah.
And that is something not everybody gets a chance. So you had like a practice marriage, both of you. That's kind of exciting.
Yours was a long practice. He was married for 13 years.
It was 13 years.
Yeah.
I did my math way wrong in my head. I thought it was, I missed something there.
I didn't know how old he was until like just 10 minutes ago. So
Okay.
I didn't attempt any math.
Yeah, that's too long of a practice.
Oh wait, no, 8 years, and then it was 2 and 22. Oh, but then he lived here also, so it was 8 years plus the time he lived here. You couldn't do that math. We didn't know when he came back.
Okay.
That's true. That's true.
It's all good.
Anyways, this isn't
Yes.
a podcast about checking data. It's a
No fact checking here.
wait a minute. You said in 2008.
Yeah. I'll say, I mean, I think we both definitely walked into the relationship, the marriage that we're in now, like before we got to the marriage point, a lot more like understanding like what we're looking for. And like she would always laugh at me, but like we would go on walks and I'd bust out my little notebook with like all these questions that I'd been like thinking of throughout the week. And I would just like, hey, so I'm gonna like ask you some deep questions.
Oh, I love
and
that.
it was like,
Oh, it was
is-
awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It is like, is he really writing this down? But at the same time, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
he cares. He's
You
like,
girls. Ha 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 ha. when we'd like put in the work, we're like, yeah, I'm gonna like, yeah, and then you're like, ha ha ha, but it's awesome. So
It is
get over
awesome.
it. So
It
get
is.
over it.
It's a little nerdy, but in a good way.
Dare you?
No, I love that. So you would go
Yeah.
on walks and then bring out these questions.
That was like the beginning stages of our friendship. Like
Okay.
we would go out for these long walks for like an hour or so, maybe 2 hours sometimes, because it was nice. It was like getting warmer as the days went on. And he would literally pull out this notebook. I eventually got a notebook. So
I
wrote down
love
a few
it.
questions. But I really appreciated the questions he was asking because they weren't just surface level friendship, whatever kind of questions. They were really deep. So, which was awesome. And it got to like really kick off that communication aspect in our relationship, like right from the get-go.
Do you have a favorite question?
Oh, I don't remember them. There's so many of them.
I still have the notebook.
He does still have the
I
notebook.
love that. Did you write down did you go home and write down what you guys talked about? Or
Did you write down the answers? All right.
I don't think I ever wrote down the
No.
answers.
just like when you would think about a question,
He would
you
just
have
write it
this and
down, like
Yeah.
throughout his day.
That's really
or-
smart.
That's very smart. Yeah.
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 I tell her just to text me in the moment when she's thinking about
I
something, so she
can't.
doesn't forget.
Yeah. And I
Mhm.
do. I forgot.
But that's like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Write that down. Get a notebook. Actually, in the
Yeah.
army, you get in trouble if you don't have your pen and a notebook. So
Mm. There you go.
at least in training, I don't know. I never did. So
He got. Never mind.
I got push-ups instead.
Oh my goodness.
You want to be smart or you want to be swole, baby?
Anything else you would like to share about marriage, divorce? If not, we can talk about our fight.
Let's get to the fight.
Let's get to the fight.
Ding ding.
Ding, ding.
Actually, here's
I want to make sure you guys got all your good stuff out though, because I
Real-
feel like you said some really great
real
things.
juicy.
No, I feel pretty good about
You feel pretty good
where we're
about it.
at. I would just say if
Yeah.
anybody is out there listening to this, going through something, like reach out, get connected.
Yeah,
There are a lot of resources.
there are.
Like utilize them. You know, if you know somebody who went through what you're going through, like reach out.
Mhm.
Like community is key.
It is. It's huge to getting through what you've been through or what you're walking through. Because if you do it without community, you feel you'll fail every time. It doesn't matter. So
That's very true.
yeah. Let's get
All right.
on with this fight.
All right, so
We're not going to say who said what, okay? Because
you want to
Victoria
quiz
will,
them? Okay, this is what I want to say though. I want to preface this because
Pastor Marco,
Lit-
if you're listening, chime in. I doubt you.
okay, so I had my men's group where we get together and we talked about stuff, and I was like, still had some of that stuff fresh, and then 2 days later, last night, I had my first band practice in over a year.
Oh wow.
And so we were like having a good time. We had a few brewski doodles, and I got home and I was like all amped up, you know. And I don't know what brought it up. I sat down and I was like, it's sometimes something about men's group is funny because I hear other people talk about like what they're going through, what they're arguing, and I just think like we never argue. And I talk about and then I said like, and then I hear like my buddy say stuff, and I just kind of like I just keep quiet because I don't want to like, you know, intrude or step on it or something like that, whatever. And then she goes, well, give me an example of like what something like this. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, and I'm just like, just speaking from my heart and just saying this, like, no one could ever disagree with me. And so the subject was on if kids should be allowed to get baptized.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I want to hear what they think
Yeah.
first.
What are your thoughts on that?
We've actually just talked about this at Advent stuff. So I guess I'll give you like our kind of view at
Our as in
Radiant.
your or
No,
Radiance?
at Radiant.
Okay, yeah.
So you can have your view, but I'll give like Radiant's view. So ours is like our suggested age is 12.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is because most kids until the age of 12 don't have like a really good grasp on like salvation and like their walk with the Lord. Like they don't understand really like what baptism is, even when parents do teach them, like their comprehension is different at 12. So that's kind of like our rule of thumb. We're going to actually have a baptism class, just so you guys know. So yeah. What about you?
Yeah. I don't know like that I could put like an exact like age on it, right?
Mhm.
Because people can be like so different in their maturity.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it is key that you really have an understanding
Yeah.
of
Absolutely.
what it is to be born again. You know, that you are showing fruits of walking with Jesus.
Right.
And that there are people that like as a church can vouch for that.
Right.
you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And that's like kind of like this sort of like a little bit into the stance too of Radiant. It's like there has to be like fruit of your salvation. And if like a pastor could like vouch for that fruit as well, like they can approve it. For instance, like for Ellie, like, because she's been asking about baptism, but she's only 7.5. But she's like, well, maybe like when I'm 10. And I'm like, oh, the age is 12. We'll see. But she actually has a really good, like, firm grasp on her salvation. And like, she is showing like those fruits. Like we were just talking the other day, like how we're proud of them, like for their prayer life. Like it's been really cool to like witness that. So, yeah, that's like, I think that's our take on it.
Yeah.
You first.
Oh no.
Okay. So my thoughts are, I don't think kids should be able to get baptized. And and it's for me, it's because of my own personal experience.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I grew up with Christian family. So all I knew was God my whole life. And it was never special to me. It was never, I never felt like a close, loving relationship with God.
Right.
And then when I was like 10 or something, I probably was baptized like twice as a child.
Okay.
And it was like, I don't want to go to hell. This is what my parents want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yes, I believed in God and I knew God was real, but it was not of my convictions or to be closer to God or to be a better. I wasn't like, I want to be closer to God. I might have said that to my parents, like, I want to be, a better Christian, all this. And they encouraged, they're like, yeah, get baptized. But then I spent, years just away from God and it really meant nothing. It was not a special experience.
Yeah.
It was like an emotional experience in the moment because of there's so much adrenaline.
There's a lot of hype.
There's a lot of stuff going on and it's like, you're nervous and all of this stuff and you're, whoo, I did it.
Yeah.
But then, like, I couldn't be further from God for the next 20 years probably until I got baptized at Radiant. And there was always this feeling when I was sitting there when the baptism would come around, and I'd always have this feeling like I want to do this, but I've already been baptized, so I can't do this again. And so I feel like getting baptized young or being allowed to instead of like, hey, let's wait till you have a better understanding of what this is, you know, and then I could have, it all worked out in the end.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But I think that it took away from the true meaning of getting baptized.
Right.
And then I had other arguments like, we don't trust kids to do a lot of stuff when they don't make big decisions.
Right.
Getting political, you can always go back to the trans thing. Like, can you trust a 10-year-old to choose their gender?
Right. Yeah.
I can't personally, but that's my thought process on it. And so it got pretty heated.
Yes.
Okay.
Because, well, are you done? Sorry.
Well, no, I want to kind of pre-defend you because obviously God is real and this transgenderism is a different thing. But my counterpoint to that argument was that, we believe in God, so of course that's how we feel. And other people believe in like the trans ideology, so of course they feel that way too. So it's like maybe we all just stick. I was like a standard of like wait till we're a little coherent to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
I
just love you so much.
I love you too. Don't worry, I'll still love you after this. No. Last night I was a little mostly because I think it's really hard for me to debate. I don't like to debate because I don't like to argue with people.
I will say that you did a damn good job.
I'm very passionate about this. I feel like I don't think that children should be allowed to make that decision. I do think it's a very important decision. I'm not saying that, but I'm sorry. I said I shouldn't. Like how Radiant has the 12 and over, and how you said there shouldn't really be an age. It depends on their maturity. Like Dakota has asked if she could get baptized, and if I were to see the fruits in her, which I do on occasion, I don't think it's necessarily 100% there yet. And that was a good point because I didn't think about that last night. It
Me
would
neither.
be different.
And if we were going to say that Lincoln shows more
Yeah.
like passion for God
yeah.
than Cody does. No offense, Cody, because I know you love God. But Lincoln is
Yeah.
also an idiot. So no, he's not an idiot. He's really smart. Sorry if you heard me, bud. No, he's 6, 7. He's
It's the same
He's-
age as Ellie. Yeah.
he's 7 years old,
Uh-huh.
and he's like super passionate, super emotional.
Yeah.
And shows a passion
Yeah.
for God. Like he's always defending it, and that's why I heard him defending it to people online, and I was like, I have to tell him, if you're watching and you're under 10, earmuffs. So I was like, Santa's not real. Like I had to I had this conviction, like tell him I don't want you to think that we're lying about anything else. So I was like, sat him down and did that.
Yeah.
That had me super emotional too when I heard him, and I was sitting
Yeah.
there, I was like,
I don't like that either. I wish we never would have started with Santa Claus. Like, yes, but we just try to. Anyways, that's a whole nother topic we can
Oh,
get into. There's
that's
so
okay.
much stuff.
But
But
anyways, yeah.
We don't
But
do
I
it
was
either,
just-
so
yeah.
it's okay.
Tell me about your stupid opinion on
oh my
baptisms.
gosh. I just think if you're a child, and you said it perfectly, if you're showing the fruits, and there's obviously a relationship with God there as a child, because yeah, I don't think kids should be making decisions on if they can get a tattoo at 12 years old or become a lesbian at 12. Like, no, they should definitely not be making those decisions. But God is so much different from all that stuff. He's like, he just wants his children to accept him and to learn to grow. Whether you stray from that or not, like, he still wants you to make that decision. And-
However, God is like a tattoo on your heart. I know that's corny, but God is just as permanent and,
but
serious
he's so
as
good.
a tattoo
He's
to
so
me.
good that later on you can make that decision again. You know, you can solidify it again as an adult. Like I did it when I was 15, and
I guess,
definitely
but-
screwed up. But
Okay. How about this? We're talking about marriage and divorce. We're gonna get heated here again.
no,
We're
we don't have
listening.
time. We're 1 minute over. So.
Sorry, that.
That doesn't
But-
exist. It's okay.
But God is like a marital commitment. Okay, so
Well, yes, I'm not saying it's not that.
so
it's
to,
like
to
renewing your
divorce
vows.
God,
Renewing your vows.
but it's not like renewing your vows. It's like divorcing God, waiting 10 years and be like, hey, like, can we work this out? Like,
In some cases, maybe. In your case,
yeah.
that's
And
what
he
it
took
was.
me back.
God was always with me. I got baptized, and just because I screwed up so many times, I still felt God with me all the time. I still felt the conviction anytime I would, sorry, Juliana, have sex outside of marriage.
Hey,
I still felt like I am doing something bad.
Yeah.
And I knew that God, you know, I would pray, and I would still feel like God telling me, you know, you need to stop. Like I'm trying to help you, and I still prayed to Him and went to Him, but I still struggled with that constantly. And does that mean that my baptism was fake? No, definitely. Like I was a completely different person once I came out of the water.
Yeah.
Like it not like physically, but my spiritual, like I grew up with no faith. Like my parents were both atheists. So
And that was another point that I made in our argument, that you came from where that was an act of rebellion
Yeah.
almost to go towards God. For me, it was just like affirmed my whole life. Like,
well, if your
Right.
parents are
you're a
pressuring
Christian,
you
you're a
to do
Christian.
it,
Yeah, like this is what you do.
Yeah,
And
for
like I
sure.
didn't understand it. Like I don't raise my hands in church because I don't, that feels weird and awkward to me. That's not, and I don't think that you should have to, or, you know, but I love your passion that you're there. You're like doing your hand raising stuff. And I think that's super cool coming from an atheist family to that. And like, you just feel it so much. And I'm jealous, really. Anyways, on that note.
So one thing, like, I think you should actually like touch on it really quick because you didn't get baptized until you were 36.
Yeah, it was just a few years ago.
Yeah, 2021.
Copycat
But were you a Christian your whole
in
life?
advance.
No, not
Like
my whole
raised
life.
a Christian? No.
So yeah, it was like a funky situation where my mom was a believer, but my dad was not. And so we were kind of like forced to go to church when we were younger. And then at a certain point, it was like, all right, like Dad doesn't go to church. Why do I have to? And it was like, okay, make your choice. So I was like, oh, I'm not going to church. And then I
Would
was
you
actually-
change that now, having kids?
Well, yeah, my kids go to church. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
they want to go to church though.
They do though. That's the thing. Is they really want to go.
That's a weird delicate balance too. Cause
Yeah.
like I had that, you're forced to go to church. And then I was like,
I don't
at a
want
certain age,
them.
like, I'm not going anymore. And then it
Yeah.
was like, well, I'll just go find churches I like. And then I was like, it was weird.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I met her that I started going to church really again for real. I went to a
That's
gay
awesome.
church, and that was really weird.
Oh no.
Yeah.
California.
Yeah. No, and that's one thing I don't ever want the kids to feel is like forced to go to
Right.
church or like be pressured to get like baptized or anything like that. But yeah, you didn't get baptized until a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
So, I mean, obviously you had a full understanding of it by then.
Right.
Right.
We
But-
hope so.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it just varies from person to person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think that there's a certain below 6. That's
Yeah,
a no
probably
fly
definitely
zone. That's
not.
what I would say.
Yeah,
Oh,
no
no,
fly,
yeah.
yeah.
But I would encourage older because you don't have to get baptized
Mhm.
as soon as you.
It's not self-ethical. It's not dependent.
It's like you can just wait a couple years, and
Yeah.
you're like, but I don't know.
I just think if Dakota wanted to get baptized, I would definitely talk to her
She's
about
gonna
it.
hear us talking about this for like the
Okay.
past 2 days, and then she's gonna be like, all of a sudden, I want to get baptized, Mom.
I mean, but you guys can like take the baptism class
Yeah.
too. So because they're going to go over all of that. So
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Just
if
saying.
she hears that, and then if we see, fruit, like you said,
Mhm.
which I definitely see it in her sometimes, not all the time,
Mhm.
then yeah, I would want to allow her to make that decision.
In
And
order to get more fruit, you gotta prune the tree back.
Mm.
So we gotta do some pruning.
Preach it.
Mm.
Yeah, preach it.
Got him.
Take all the electronics away.
Are you gonna
That is
produce
the
fruit
devil.
now?
Yeah.
Give me your fruit.
Those are the devil. All right.
All right.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
Thanks for letting us fight in front
Thank
of
you
you.
for
It was worse
allowing
last
us to
night.
come
No.
on.
Yeah.
Gracias por escuchar, amigos.
Oh.
Muy bien, muy
He's on
bien.
like a 350-day streak.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Muy bien.
I'm not.
Muy bien.
Yeah.
Are you learning
I am like I can do Spanglish.
Spanglish?
I can like interpret, but I can't speak it very
I can
well.
hear better than I can if you speak slowly. I can hear better than I can speak.
Are you a fast Spanish speaker?
He can be.
That's cool.
Oh,
I don't know.
It's so hard.
It's tough.
in Spanish.
It's I always feel self-conscious too when I'm like,
Yeah, because it's like I know this is right, but
Right,
you
same,
actually
yeah.
speak it, and
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna screw it up.
yeah, when I'm talking to my crews, it's like I don't like any other white people to be around. Because then if I totally mess up, they're like, "You're an idiot." I'm like, "Yeah, right."
but you're learning. That's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay.
I have one guy that just looks at me. No matter what I say, even if it's correct, he's just like tequila.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Great. Thanks.
Great. ¿Cuántos maderos are? And he's like, tequila. Okay. Yeah. And you can't call it OSB or Madeira. It's plywood. No matter what. Plywood. It's plywood.
It's all
It's
plywood.
not plywood though. It's
Right. It's OSB.
Yeah, it's very different. Anyways,
Thank you so much for joining us.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you for
loved it.
listening,
And-
people
Yeah.
in the camera. He looked intensely into the camera and made a sexy face.
Smolder.
Smolder.
A smolder.
Mm. So I'm going to awkwardly reach over here. Wait, can I bring this with me?
Maybe.
Is there a spider on my laptop?
I don't know, but
Is that what that is?
Where?
do this first before you
What am I doing? What happened?
close us out.
I was literally in the process of doing that. Wow.
Sorry.
Don't forget to do what you're already doing. Okay, hold on. Before I close this out, do you ever feel like when you're like taking out the garbage and she's like, "Hey, can you take out the garbage?" You just feel like you just want to stop right there and walk away? Does that ever happen to you?
Like the question where you're like, what do you think I'm doing right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, don't forget to take out the garbage, and you're literally like, "That's what you're doing." And now it's like, well, now you think I'm doing it because you told me to. But I was being a good little boy, and now no one's even gonna know it. Anyways,
So sad.
I'm
Thanks
so
for
fired
listening.
up right now.
Thanks for being our person and joining us today or something. I don't know.
Nice nose piercing.
Thank you.
Okay, see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
And I'm just gonna reach over here. Still doing stuff. Hold on, please don't.